So you guys are thinking about getting into real estate investing or renovating one of your first properties? Come learn from some of my mistakes on this property I'm working on right now. So one thing I want to consider when going into the scope of a rental renovation is, are you going to be replacing all the electric, mechanicals, and plumbing? If so, you may want to consider taking the property down to the studs, removing all the plaster or drywall on your property, because things like this are very difficult to correct later on. All this patching of cut plaster pieces from the electrician coming in. Now on this property, and almost all of the ones I do, we will take the kitchens and bathrooms down to the studs. That gives you some flexibility on where to put your outlets and make sure you get enough of them, and also run all new plumbing to your kitchens and bathrooms. Now something you may want to consider is adding laundry upstairs on one of your next rental renovations. Now it does limit some of our space in the kitchen. However, having this framed in stackable laundry in the kitchen, we feel is much more ideal than having to walk down into these older dungeon style 100-year-old basements that usually are a little bit dingy, low light, low headroom, and might have a little bit of moisture. Now make sure you don't make this mistake on your next rental renovation. If you have separation in between units here, you need to put some sort of insulation in between walls for sound deadening. Now in this case, we put rock wool, which is a fire barrier between rental units, and it also helps obstruct any noise from going between units so that the tenants can't hear each other. Now when you're renovating your next property, take time to make sure things are done correctly. Here in this kitchen, we ended up taking down all the new drywall that was hung by the last owner because we thought maybe they're covering something up. In this situation, taking it all down back to the studs or back to the floor joists allows us to actually make structural repairs, which we had to in this case. We've got new floor joists right under our bathrooms upstairs that make the floor system very sturdy for that new tub we put in. Now when you're renovating a property, you may want to consider the size of your closets. We took the extra time and expense to demo the existing closets and frame new ones in that were much deeper. The standard depth for these old 100-year-old properties was about a foot, not big enough or not deep enough to fit your average hanging rod. So instead, we framed it out another foot and made them 2 feet deep so you have plenty of room to fit all your clothes. So when analyzing your next deal, one thing to leave you with is don't underestimate the budget. This property looked pretty put together, but once you dig into it and you start opening up walls, running new electric and plumbing, the budget starts to increase pretty significantly. So make sure you have your contingency planned on your next rental renovation.